Academia, the business press, and policymakers have found themselves caught up in an unhealthy attempt to understand and replicate the royal jelly that leads to growth of our largest and most successful businesses. They inevitably seem to favor Wall Street or Silicon Valley over Main Street. Statistics Canada talks disparagingly of micro businesses, those with 1 to 4 employees, and mostly ignores the self-employed in studies of employment. And yet nationally, about 15 to 16% of workers are self-employed. Even that statistic probably underestimates the importance of the self-employed. For example, what about a small corporation where the owners put themselves on payroll? Are these micro businesses or are they self-employed tradespeople or professionals? Our accounting profession is not immune. Our leadership clearly believes that the portion of practitioners that service the small business community are something less than full-fledged professionals. Dazed and confused by the wild hype surrounding gazelles and unicorns, entrepreneurship researchers have focused on the black swans of the entrepreneurial world, even though IPOs and venture capital financing of firms are extremely rare events. Despite the rarity of IPOs and obtaining venture capital, entrepreneurship conferences and journals have been filled with papers on various aspects of the process of going public and VC networks. Fortunately, in the middle of Silicon Valley mania, other scholars have been paying attention to the more mundane aspects of business startups, the ordinary business starts, numbering in the hundreds of thousands for businesses with employees. The purpose of this article is to address what we believe to be scholars' misplaced attention on the extreme and their neglect of the mundane in the study of entrepreneurship. Correcting the misperception that has been introduced through selection biases favoring growing and profitable firms will give scholars and policymakers a more accurate and policy relevant picture of entrepreneurship in the 21st century. So I subscribe to the Globe and Mail, and I get a newsletter from them into my email inbox for the report on small business. So back in March of 2021, I received a notification, went online. The headline was Canadian Tech IPO Frenzy continues as Vendasta, Thinkific, and Magnet Forensics all file to go public. What struck me was that there was not one small business amongst them. Magnet Forensics had about 150 employees, Thinkific had 235, and Vendasta had more than 500 employees. So we talk about a large business and some medium-sized businesses. The Globe and Mail does not get it. They don't understand what a small business is. Perhaps they feel it's beneath them to report on real small businesses. In this slide, we look at individuals employed in the private and public sectors in 2019. You'll note that the self-employed are ignored, even though there are more self-employed individuals at 2.9 million than there are employees of all medium-sized enterprises or large businesses in Canada.